On this episode, investing, entrepreneurship, and Cubs superstar fan Tony Conrad stops by. Hey everybody, this is GaryVee, Nerdchuck, episode 264 of the AskGaryVee show. And I'm very excited today. First of all, I'm pumped that the AskGaryVee show is now on the watch infrastructure on Facebook. This is where you watch the show. This is where it is. Daily V living on YouTube. AskGaryVee show living on the watch platform. Tony, you are one of my favorite humans, personalities, investors, entrepreneurs. Have you seen this happen last week or two? You're aware that Facebook is now producing original programming, like the Ball family has a show on Facebook. It's only really launched this last week. Has that hit your radar yet? Are you aware?
It's hit my radar in terms of just
have you
talking about
a show yet?
But I haven't consumed it. I'm just back from Tokyo.
Understood. Tony, why don't you tell the Vayner Nation, and Vayner Nation, one thing I'm spending a lot of time thinking about is with the AskGaryVee show, as it's now going to kind of get even more geared up now that we're investing heavily in the Facebook original programming in this way, is I want to have the right mix between people that you know that are not necessarily in the business world, an athlete, a rapper, things that people that you may know that are like spending a lot of time like myself, self-promoting and doing that things you know, and then probably the thing that I really want to add, and Tony, you represent this for me, people that I deem as bringing enormous value. I literally, it's not a joke, just to give you guys context, cutting myself off. I texted Tony, who's a friend, and I'll let him introduce himself in a minute, and I'm like, bro, you need the world to know who you are. I've said this to you in multiple times through the years that I think you are a star.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Because of the way you communicate and your aura and how you see the world. And it's just, there's something about you that interests me. And so I'm making a commitment to the AskGaryVee show to bring out acquaintances, friends, or even people I don't know that I think need exposure from the sense of, I'm being selfish. I feel like it's going to bring a ton of value to my audience to get to know them and follow them. And it's also going to be fun for me to watch them go, whoa, wait a minute, what does this mean? Like, what should I do with this maybe newfound a little bit of exposure? That's what this feels like, Tony. That's the setup. Say hello to the Vayner Nation.
All right, I am pumped to be here. I love Gary's audience. I love Gary. I've known you for a long time. I've watched your evolution.
Yes.
It's phenomenal. I'm like proud to be your friend, man.
Thank you, man.
I love the way you represent yourself.
Do the origin story. Let's go comic book here. Like, where'd you grow up? What were you into? How did your career start, and where are you today?
Yeah, so I grew up in a very small farming community in the northeastern part of the state of Indiana. 5,000 people, really, really small. I always like to say that 9 kids out of 122 in my graduating class went to college. So it's that kind of spot, right? Really good people, yep. But very local people, yes. And so it's not an obvious path.
What year did you graduate high school?
Oh God, people have been trying to get my age for a while. Let's just call it, in the 1980s.
Respect.
It might be 1980 exactly. Respect. But hey.
Keep going. So
1980s,
right?
Paint
the picture.
So
yeah.
I went to college in Indiana University.
Were you a good student?
Yeah, I was a pretty good student.
Because it came easy to you because you're smart?
Well, I tell you what, man. I think a lot
of
of people probably understand this when you're kind of growing up in that type of environment where it's not obvious, where you haven't had what I'll call some unfair advantages,
yes.
Right? I was a good student. I worked really hard. I got straight A's in high school. I did really well on the SATs because, whatever, I had to. I got to college. And as soon as I got there my freshman year, dude, I almost had a meltdown in that first semester. I studied
cliche.
I think I studied more than any human being ever on the face of the earth, right? Like I was so panicked because I met all these kids from Indianapolis and from Chicago and big urban environments. And I just felt so ill prepared. Yeah. I felt so underwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by the entire thing.
School, all this kind of stuff, right?
I just didn't feel like I was worthy yet, right? And so
you were like, you guys milk cows? You're like, what?
I remember I came home, dude. I came home after about 5 weeks. And God bless my parents, man. My family is awesome. I came home and I said to my mom, I said, can I get some new clothes? because dude, I was wearing hush puppies, and I did not look like a college student. But I went back and I did really well. I did really, really well that first year, and I developed a lot of confidence. From there, I graduated in 1984. I moved to Chicago. Shortly thereafter, I moved to New York. I ended up working for a great guy, Antoine Rabou from BSN in Paris. He brought me to Paris. I spent about 5 years there. Then
that must have been
that was amazing.
That's an interesting transition.
It's amazing.
Right?
Well,
small
actually,
town. You got to Chicago, much bigger town. Then you came to the Big Apple.
Well, I'll tell you the transition
Please.
for me. I remember that first day of going to work, and I stopped at the Equitable Building.
Chicago?
Yeah, right across from the Wrigley Building there. You know, I'm a big
Yep.
Cubs
I
fan,
know
so
you are.
being across from that Wrigley Building was awesome. And I remember I stopped and I looked up, and
Wait
it was
a minute,
just
real
like,
quick. Now I'm interrupting because I'm getting excited. Are you telling me you were in Chicago during the '84 Cubs playoff run?
I was, dude. And
That was
more importantly,
do you hate Steve GaryVee more than life?
Deep right field, way back, Cutter going back to the wall, it's gone! Home run Garvey, and there will be tomorrow!
Now that you've won, it probably doesn't hurt as much, but
I mean,
that was heartbreaking.
2-0 Leon Durham. Oh man, let's not.
Thank God Bill Buckner came along. That nobody
Whoa,
knows what we.
Listen, okay, this would be a lot really too painful if we didn't have last year.
Yeah, 100%. Keep going.
Anyways,
I'm sorry.
But anyways, I got to that building and I looked up and it's like a 40-story building, and I remember thinking like, this is a long way from Indiana, right? I mean, that was a gut check moment. It felt like that year again when I was a freshman. I just felt, oh, am I ready for this, right? And this time I had the right clothes though. So I went up there and I did well. Then before I went to Paris, though, I actually went to India, to Delhi, and that was my real eye-opening experience for this company, BSN. And
what does BSN do? And I apologize real quick.
Well, BSN now is
Go ahead.
called Groupe Danone. It's the third largest consumer packaged goods company, CPG company in the world. Massive brands, Evian, Dan & Company, Nabisco, lots of different products. And so, you want to work in populations where there are a large number of mouths to feed, right? So India was a prized, kind of job to go get in development. So I started off there. That was quite eye-opening for somebody from Indiana. Then I moved my way back to Paris, and I spent, almost 5 years in France. After that, I went to Indonesia. I worked another 4 years running our mergers and acquisitions and corporate development for all of Southeast Asia. Ended up doing a lot of work in China. After so many miles on airplanes, I had a couple kids. I got a dog along the way. I had a wife, obviously. I just remember thinking like, I just can't get on another airplane for a while, right? I was just living on an airplane. And so I just said, I want to take a year off, and I want to move back to the States. I want to move back to where I'm walking down the street and everything's intuitive. Yep. And moved to San Francisco because everybody got it. 1996 into 96, beginning 97. Perfect time for the tech revolution.
Yes. And so what happens when you hit after the year off?
So I
and
get
real
there.
quick, actually, before I ask you that, Facebook, put in your phone numbers. We're going to start asking questions of Tony here in a minute, and so put those in. Andy K will pick it, and we'll get to that in a minute. Entrepreneurial questions. He'll get into his investing part in a minute. So those are genres, and just being cool. Tony's cool, so if you want to ask some questions on how to be cool, I think he, that freshman year in college, he never wanted to not be cool again, and he's pulled it off. Go ahead, Tony.
Anyways, so I got there in 97. The whole first big bubble was blowing up there, right? It was
and
Web 1.0.
Were you like, what the hell's the internet? Or
I knew what the internet was because,
yes.
Oddly enough, in France, I'll go back to that moment so I got to France, and after a few months in Paris, I went to the company and I said, listen, this is not going to work out, me being in Paris. Yeah. I just don't speak French at a level that is going to work. And so I know this is going to be counterintuitive, but I want to go into the sales organization and I want to move outside of Paris. To which the first response was, but you don't speak French well enough to do sales. I said, exactly. That's the point. So I picked a spot on the border of Spain, a little town called Perpignan, where Loic is from, oddly enough.
That's right. The founder of Lay Web, and very much part of the era when Tony, Conrad and I became friends during that, what I would call the Web 2.0 bubble.
Yeah. So, down the middle of nowhere, and I started doing the sales job and teaching teaching myself how, to speak French, at a higher level. And that really kind of served me well because, as I started moving towards my career of being an investor, what I realized was that, I could figure this stuff out, right? I could overcome this. And I remember one of the things when we were doing the sales job was that we used the Minitel. Does anybody know about the Minitel? It's the first, network computer system in the world, right? And this is early 90s. And so we were using the Minitel, and I just saw the power of that ability to be able to digitally put your information in and the efficiencies of that, right?
Yeah, you're like, this makes the fax machine seem slow.
This makes everything feel really slow. So I had worked on that, and when I moved to Indonesia, I remember I would sit there and I hit that first Netscape browser, and I'd get Cub scores, and it would be like, ball 2.
Yep.
You refresh and you get like an inning later. So by the time I got to San Francisco, I knew I wanted to work in tech.
And did you know who Mark Andreessen was? Because
of course I did.
When you use
of course
Netscape,
I did.
you're like, who's...
Well, by that time, I was moving 96, 97.
Yeah, it's out there. It's in the
It had been
lexicon.
out there, it had gone public. Andreessen was on the cover of every magazine.
Yes.
Of course, he was a hero to all of us.
Of course.
And so I knew I wanted to work around technology. And I started investing, right? And it was the best way to get in.
Well, a lot of people in my audience want to be investors. It's obviously become very cool. BCO. How did you go from where did you get the job? Or did you do it yourself?
One of the things by living abroad, I was able to put away a little bit of financial resources, right? And so I had some money.
Yes.
I had the ability to
And how old were you at this point?
Oh, I don't know, man. Whatever that is, 35, 34.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking that is there's a lot of 20-year-olds who always ask me, like, Gary, I want to start investing. I want to be an investor.
We'll come back to that.
I'm like, why don't you work for 10 years, save some money, and invest?
There you go. There's no silver bullet.
People think Santa Claus is rolling around. Anyway.
It gets real when you got your own coin in the game. I'll just tell you, it gets real quickly.
Real quick.
So I got lucky, though, and I think it was hard to get lucky in 1997. I mean, there's a lot of companies, but one of the early investments we made was this company called Danger, which was the first smartphone, and Andy Rubin's group. And
when you say we, because we didn't get that part.
Well, I was working with
VSP.
So I was working with a couple other investors in a small partnership. It was like a little $25 million vehicle, which we were, funding a chunk of, right?
So you were
personally,
putting some of your money in and
absolutely.
you raised some money.
We raised a little bit of money, to sidecar it. And that company just became really, an important company. It was that T-Mobile Sidekick, the first smartphone. And, we went on to make some investments in a couple public market companies like Quinn Street. We had a big company called Post Communications that got bought by another public company called NetCentives. So, we had a good run, right? And then it went poof.
April 2000?
Oh, yeah. It was like really clear. The dream was over, right?
I want to get a question in just to break it up a little bit, but I want to talk to you as somebody who lived it, because I really didn't. I was tucked away in New Jersey, slowly building wine library. I did not live I'm worth $7 trillion. I now have to go work at Kmart, like so many did. And I'm very concerned for everybody right now who's got entrepreneur in their Instagram account and making $1 million selling T-shirts with what happens when the economy melts. So I want to get into that in a second. I'm aware. Let's get to the first phone call. While Andy's setting that up, I'll let you to start the post. Part of that story. So everything's rolling. You're getting all these cool things. So from 96, 97 to 2000, this range, you are investing in your building. Did you guys raise more capital as a fund?
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
so now we're on our way to a $200 million fund because we had results. We were doing well. We're starting to get in it. And
you ready? Go ahead.
And you got a question?
Yeah, we're gonna get a question. What's the name?
Conrad in Minneapolis.
Conrad. Oh, great.
Right, let's see what Conrad in Minneapolis has to say.
Hello?
Conrad, this is GaryVee. You're on the AskGaryVee show with Tony Conrad.
What's up, Gary? Oh my God, that's awesome.
How are you? What's your question?
All right, my question is, I work at a tomato farm, all right?
Okay.
I've been there since 5th grade. Right now, I'm in my 2nd year of college.
So let me get this right, Conrad, with a K, by the way, not like a C like yours, Tony.
Sorry, we can be family.
You've worked at a tomato farm since 5th grade. You're now a sophomore in college.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, keep going.
Community college.
Respect. I went to Mount Ida. You're not hurting me. Go ahead.
All right, so this year over year, we've been losing revenue, and I've been wanting to explain social media marketing to him. But we're not organic technically, and the places we're in right now are taking more organic than us. So they don't really like the hydroponics. They like the organic. So we're in food co-ops, about 15 restaurants and 15 food co-ops.
I understand.
Yeah. So my question is, if this were to fall through, would it be possible to convert to a cannabis cultivating operation? Because we are in the Minneapolis area. So they're not going to be able to cross lines if the laws change. But here's the actual question. I'm going to school for computer technology, for web development right now. Do I continue to go on this tech world, or do I, wait for the laws to change and keep working here?
I understand.
So I think you got two questions there. So let's talk.
And Tony, before you answer that, just one last piece of context for both of us to answer. Is this a family business, or you just work for these individuals because you've known them since you were a kid?
Yeah, it's pretty close to family. It's not quite family, but I look to him as a grandfather or father.
Thank you. Okay, Tony, go ahead.
That's great. So first thing, businesses evolve all the time. We see it in the technology sector all the time where people do massive evolutions or pivots. Slack. I'm a personal investor in Slack with Stuart. Stuart is Tiny Speck. Started up as a game, and the game wasn't working. But there was this one thing that they had built, this internal communication protocol, which we all know now and love, Slack. They knew that was working. It made sense, and they made that evolution, right? They switched over, and it's a very different business from the one that they were in, but it was one where they were passionate. It made sense for them to go do. So converting, how you go about converting from one line of business to another, I think that's all possible, right? One of your biggest assets is the team. And the momentum you have is working together. And if you collectively agree that you're going to go in some new direction, that's really powerful, right? You don't got to start from zero and collect everybody along the way. And the second question was, remember?
Should he continue down the path of computer science or web development, or should he go deeper into the tomato farm with the hope that it changes into a weed farm?
Well, I don't know why you can't do both. And
that's exactly, by the way, my answer. So we're going to save time. Yeah, what's the problem with both, Conrad, with a K? Can you answer? Why did you feel that they were mutually exclusive?
The reason being is because the farmer I work for, he's kind of against technology. He's afraid of the world kind of crumbling down. And what happens when there's no internet? You're not going to have a job, kind of deal.
Hey, Conrad.
So, pretty dynamic.
Hey, yeah. Conrad, okay. That is fucking ludicrous, what you just said. What are we even talking about here? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. His thesis on what you should do with your life is predicated on the notion that one day the internet might shut down or disappear for a couple hours?
Pretty much, I guess, yeah.
Can you agree with me as a 19-year-old human being that is the most asinine horseshit of all time?
It's not...
Conrad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about here? That's like me making my decisions on how to live my life predicated on the notion of North Korea blowing up America and me dying. And the crazy part is that is far more likely than the fucking picture you just painted.
Yeah.
Yes, no, that's more, it's more of do I continue the tech? And I know you said both, but it's kind of, it's tough. I mean, I don't know how to handle that.
Well, let me ask you a question. What would be the output of if you followed down the tech route? You'd go get a job, you'd start your own web development shop. We need to understand what that means. You're done with your education, you decide to pick the tech route. What are you going to do?
Right, yeah.
So to me, if you have your own little dev shop where you're trying to make $100,000 a year building people's websites, sounds like exactly what you can do from 8 p.m. to midnight, unless maybe you wake up at 3:30 in the morning in the tomato farm. I need context, but I just genuinely believe you have 18 hours in a day, especially when you're 22 years old. You might have 20 hours in a day, and I just think you can do 2 fucking jobs. I think you could. You don't have to. You may not want to. Maybe you want to do other things, as you should, but the question becomes, have you debated the ability to do both if you choose to?
Yeah, I suppose both would be the answer. Yeah.
Both is always the answer if you can do it. Both is always the answer to everything. No, but it's true, right, Tony?
Sure.
Both.
Absolutely.
Conrad, thanks for calling. I mean, Tony, listen, I've listened to enough sports radio to know when to cut it off. Listen, I think both is the answer when you can do it. And what I like about that moment, why I love this call-in show is Look, both may not be the answer when you have 2 kids and a dog and you've been on a plane. Like, maybe that's not what you want to do. But when you're hungry in the beginning, like, when
you could do both.
You could, I mean, I look at everyone like both. If you want it so bad. Some don't. Some want to make a nice living, buy stuff with it, enjoy the fruits of a $60,000 to $150,000 salary, like going to a concert and buying a T-shirt and like going to a Knicks game, like Mazel Tov. But like, if you're hungry, both is real.
Yeah, both is real. I've been doing both for a long time.
I'm aware, my man.
A long time. We'll get into that.
Listen,
right?
Anybody who's winning by the standards of winning professionally, do both.
Yes. Yes. And by the way, back for Conrad, if you're not working with people that share your passion for something and your way about going about doing it, then you should break rank right away and go find a group of people, go find your posse or create your own posse around your passion and what you want to go do, right? You can do your own tomato farming, you do your own cannabis, manufacturing, whatever you want to do. You can do all that yourself, believe in yourself, vote on yourself. Easy. Especially when the people that you're working with have the judge and the jury on their side. Yes. Old man farmer is the judge and the jury. Yeah. That's not a partnership. Yeah, he shouldn't determine this young man's life. Exactly. Absolutely not. Who's next?
Justin in Santa Fe.
Justin.
Hi, this is Justin.
Hey, Justin, it's Gary Vaynerchuk on the AskGaryVee show, and you're on with Tony Conrad.
GaryVee and Tony, what's up? How are you?
Really good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great.
What's your question, bro?
My question is, I developed a product that's coming up on a year now that transforms cremated remains into a glaze for ceramic design objects.
Tony, admit right now, this is the greatest show that you've ever been on. I've just gone from tomato farming to cannabis evolution to dead people turning into glaze. This is kind of a new one for me. Me too. Listen, I've been pitched a lot. Just don't put that glaze on donuts. I am fired the fuck up right now to hear what's going to come out of your mouth. Go ahead.
Totally. Yeah. So when we launched, we got tons of press. We're in Today's Show, The Guardian, Times London, all this stuff. It's really cool. Real quick, because I was so...
hold on, I apologize, brother. I was so freaked out and excited that I need to hear the next part of the word glazed, because I'm like, is it a glazed donut? Is it a glazed... Like what is it one more time? God. You take the cremation of a person into a glazed what?
Ceramic design objects. So
something to hang in your home?
Sure. Yeah. Vases, wall pieces, jewelry, and we even sell coffee mugs.
Right. So you're drinking your coffee out of great-grandmother. That's a
whole new level of drinking a cup of Joe.
By the way, bro, real quick, you have to email me separately. I'm signing up for I want to be turned into a mass product. I want to be in everybody's home in America. 300. Can you turn a human into 300 million pieces? Like, I want every American wearing my ring.
Absolutely. Okay. Man, that would be so cool.
Thank you. Will you commit right now to wear my ring of my death on your finger when I die?
Yeah.
First customer. Yeah. First customer. All right, go ahead. Keep going. So you get all this press.
You could probably have a lot of people doing that at your funeral.
Dude, I'm fucking focused on this. Why do you think I'm keeping you on the line? Keep going. So, of course, you get a ton of press. Makes a ton of sense. That's why we're all reacting. Now what?
Totally. Absolutely. We make some sales on the internet, and then I've identified the way to grow the company as funeral home retail. And I'm having trouble getting the funeral homes to carry our product in their showrooms, even with the sales proof that I'm providing to them.
Are your products dummy products that if I walk in, I would see and they could say, hey, by the way, you could turn your relative or loved one into this thing when that moment comes? Or since
Correct.
Okay, I see. Okay. When you say you've made sales, what is the actual, because it feels a little B2B more than B2C. Like if my great-great-great-great-grandfather passes away and I want to do this, what's the cost to me to do it? What's the website?
For a piece of jewelry, the average is $200. For a larger bottle, the average is about $600.
I see. So you're saying that you're just taking a little tiny piece of the DNA and creating it, I guess? It's not like we're taking the whole body and dissecting it into tons of product.
Correct. Yeah, they send 1 cup of ashes to my studio, which is essentially calcium phosphate, and we turn it into a glaze, which is essentially a glass coating.
Well, it's a great idea, but there's some challenges here, right? So normally, I don't like businesses that are dependent on other businesses to be successful, right? So you're dependent on here, the funeral home channel, because you have a timing issue, right? You can't, it's not like some businesses that might help somebody navigate or create products around death, right? They can do it post. Right? They can follow the obituaries in the paper. There's all kinds of databases out there. You can do direct marketing, all kinds of great stuff. But you got a window here, and it's when that moment, like, Uncle George just died, and you got to cremate them, and you got to pull some ashes and then send it out, right?
Wait a minute. I would go a different route.
Right.
There are a ton of people with ego and narcissistic tendencies like myself that you should go to before they die, so they put it in the will. I think the channel B2B is not funeral homes. I think it's lawyers and will platforms I think because then you're playing to somebody's ego, and it's easier to sell to somebody on the ego and happiness versus the sadness of the traumatic event that just happened.
Right.
You like that,
really
Jake?
Interesting. Yeah.
You like that psychology? I hit you deep there, Jake Ben Ruby. That was good psychology.
Man, I can't believe it, Gary. I'm going to invest in that idea if you do it.
Dude, I think this is an interesting business. I mean it. Like, I think the shrine with the ashes in it is kind of, cool and interesting. And like, I genuinely think, like, for me, if I could convince my parents, I would much rather have them in my home than somewhere. Like, I think it's pretty interesting. Now you're taking it to a totally different level. I think it's pretty clever, man. I would assume there's no way that you guys were the first company to turn ashes and DNA into products, right? Because it seems so logical. You guys are trying to do it in a more modern and better way. Am I correct in that assumption?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's glass products, there's resin products. We're the first to do it with glaze and ceramics.
Do you know the company called Dollar Shave Club?
Yes.
So what Dollar Shave Club did was they created a video, and it really was the spearhead to their business. I think your business is so unique to the reason why it became viral in the PR world. I think you should spend $50,000 to $100,000, and you may not have that as a startup, or get some interns, or do the best you can. Produce what I would deem a $50,000 to $100,000 video output, even if you paid $0, to produce a video that is got the right tone. And I don't know if it's humorous. I don't know if it's not humorous. I don't know if it's sentimental. I actually think, back to my thesis, you should make 4 videos, one that's emotional, one that's ridiculously funny. But I think your business could explode if you made Facebook videos, 2-minute videos, the way Purple Mattress, if you want to go look at an example, are doing around your business. I can see you getting a video that gets 87 million views on Facebook that could change the outcome of your business.
Okay. Totally.
Yeah, I think it's probably humor, right?
It's humor, for sure.
And you think I should target the planning, not the post-death families?
I think you got to work both angles. But if
yeah.
you're dependent on funeral homes, they're going to be slow adopters. The economics aren't really clear for them.
They're gatekeepers. They're traditional. They're worried to offend. They're not going to be innovative. You're going to get nobody.
That's right. Well, you're going to get some, but you're not going to get scale.
Correct. Nobody. 17 people that are progressive, that've got the kid coming in, they want to do something different, but not 99.1% of the market.
That's right. That's pretty cool, man.
Good luck, man.
Awesome.
Take care. I bet you didn't think that question was coming today.
I didn't see either question coming today.
As Andy's setting up the next one, you're rolling $25 million fund. You get some winners. You guys are able to go and raise some more capital. You have a $200 million fund.
And then it all melts.
When did you know the melting was coming, or were you young and it was just the way it was, or was there? You and I talk a lot about the world melting, like off script right now. These days, two of our last 3 coffees were that. Back then, though, I don't think it was as obvious. Did you kind of just literally wake up in April, or was it like in March you started seeing, how did it hit you?
No, I think for everybody, you woke up. But I tell you what, like when it happened, it was a little bit of a shock. It was like a 9/11 thing. You didn't see it coming, but it happened,
What
right?
happened, Tony?
Well, the public markets started. The public markets, the public markets
what
were.
period of time?
Well, they weren't. There was no business models,
I
man.
know, man.
And so nobody was really being valued on reality. It was all on hype.
Yep.
And when that came out of the sales, it just stopped immediately.
How much money did you guys have to deploy when it hit? Still, or did you deploy most of the 200 at that point?
No, I think we had most of our money.
And
still.
so what happened?
Well, we ended up giving it back. Yeah. So, but I'll tell you what I noticed.
Because it was committed, but not in,
here's
right?
the point, right? So the thing is, you can't always predict what happens, but pay attention to what the people who have been doing this for a while, whatever industry you're in, pay attention to what they do, right? Watch how they react, man. Because I tell you what, all the OGs of that venture capital industry, they bailed. And they started moving money out of companies, and they started shutting things down. They were being really proactive. And I think, I sat around for a couple of months just trying to catch up. Like, what's this all mean, right? No. Some action there is probably important.
My entire team was smiling while you were talking. You might have noticed me looking at them smiling too, because I have been yelling for the last year, please stop. And I say a lot of things every day. Please stop listening to what I'm saying. Please start watching what I'm doing.
Yes.
Why am I doing a podcast?
Yes.
Why am I all over Instagram?
Bingo.
Why am I on Snapchat more today? Why am I building Alexa skills? Why am I doing this?
Yes.
The actions, not the words.
The actions, not the words, matter. Absolutely. So I tell you what.
Go ahead.
Please. Boy, I tell you, we augured that thing in, and we slowed that whole thing down, and it'll bring you to my next investment after we get through this question.
Hello?
Dave, you're on the AskGaryVee show with Tony Conrad. How are you?
Yes, sir. Gary, I'm watching you right now, and I've been sending tons of messages.
Well, you got through, brother. Perseverance. What can I help you with?
About time. Oh, my God, Gary. I've been waiting for this moment. I'm not lying.
I appreciate it, man. I'm flattered. Go ahead.
All right. Yes, sir. Let's get to it. All right. So I'm the operations manager for an irrigation company.
Listening. I'm listening.
Here in Lubbock, Texas.
Dude, listen to me, not what's going on Facebook. I can hear that you're waiting for it to play on Facebook. There's a little delay.
All right.
Just listen to me. Turn that off. No worries. Go ahead.
Just go. Roll with it.
All right. I just shut off my computer. I'm sorry.
No worries at all.
Right.
Go ahead, my friend.
So I'm the operations manager here for an irrigation company out of Lubbock, Texas.
Yep.
Okay. I've been making some serious business decisions and movements that are going to take this company to the next level. We have been in operations for 30 years. Now, basically what we have, our product is a surge valve. We irrigate crops, and we're able to conserve 50% of water while doing it. All we do is we move the water, we direct the water left and right at intermittent intervals. And what this does is you're able to get the water to the end of the field faster while conserving it. And for the deep water, oh my God, I'm shaking. Whew.
Don't worry, baby. Tony Conrad's
like a Cisco router. It's like a Cisco router. We got it.
Tony Conrad is not that intimidating. Let's keep it going.
My heart is pumping so, oh my God, I think I'm dreaming.
Don't worry, brother. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay.
We got you.
Okay, so our product it's a solar-powered controlled valve. And basically is a solar-powered controlled valve, and it's an aluminum valve. It's a T-shaped valve. We direct the water left and right because there's a butterfly flap in the middle.
Understood.
Can you ask the guy right next to you on your left side to Google our company? It's prsurge.com.
Okay.
PNRsurgesystems.com.
Okay.
Because this is an agricultural product.
I got it. I'm
got you.
following. Go
We
ahead.
got it.
I trust you. I
Okay,
understand.
so-
I understand your product is 50% better than the market. What's the punchline of the question here? So you don't look back at this moment and feel like you missed it.
All right, I'm sorry.
No worries. I got
basically, so I've made the connections with other professors, and what I'm doing is the way more people are going to find out about who we are is by exposure by creditable people.
100%.
Which is
That's right.
agricultural engineers, irrigation engineers from universities. See, what happened is this irrigation engineer from Arkansas University, Chris Henry, he published an article about our search valve. And what happened when this happened was it went to the irrigation district, and, the state of Arkansas, caught eye to it. And
of course.
Basically, the irrigation districts subsidized our product for farmers so they can pay for it. Kind of like financial aid for farmers.
Brother, brother, I understand this super well. You're basically doing influencer marketing around your product in a B2B environment that allows governments to subsidize the cost to allow you to build businesses. So you're probably going to ask me, how do you scale that up?
No, not really, because, that is one of my questions. But what I'm also doing is I'm integrating internet into the valve.
Right, so you're IoTing the product.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the question?
So the question is, how do I... All right, give me 1 second.
You got it. No worries, we got you. Tony's ready.
Thank you. So this product has the potential to do great things, as in conserving water for agricultural, like feeding the masses.
I got it.
Now, how do we, since we're going to make this product better, how do I get exposure? I mean, how do I get people to know about us? That's our problem. Nobody really knows about us, and nobody really cares about agriculture and watering our crops, but that's one of the most important things.
Consumers are not going to drive your business here, bro. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
When I said you're going to ask me how to get to scale more of the Arkansas professor, you said, no, that's not my question, and then proceeded to ask a much worse question.
I'm sorry. That was my question at first.
You're not producing Nike or Adidas or you're not producing like a Fox television show. You're not even producing Warby Parker or Birchbox. You're producing a B2B product. You've already figured out the model to how to do it, which is to get the tastemakers to influence the government.
Get more tastemakers.
You should DM the fuck, email on LinkedIn, email on normal email, like knock on their door and invade their privacy. Like you need to get every tastemaker that is a thought leader in this to write about and be educated about it, and not care that a single who gives a shit if anybody on earth ever cares about this product, much like so many of the $1 trillion companies that not one of us can name on our best day.
That's right. I tell you, I built 2 companies, dude, based on influencer marketing. First was Sphere, and I built it through brands. So I got TechCrunch, and I got GigaOM, and all the OGs of the blogging world to put a little Sphere button on. Then I moved from that, and when I launched About.me, I got individuals like GaryVee, Tim Ferriss, Veronica Belmont, Kevin Rose, Matt Mullenweg. I got all the people that had massive reach to align and become advisors to my company and basically vouch for what we were doing.
Before we get too far away, I want to use this as a segue. Let's talk about About.me. You are actively now chairman and CEO?
I am chairman.
Chairman. Who's CEO?
Mindy Lausch.
Yes, she's awesome.
Mindy is awesome.
This, we've talked about 3 businesses on the phone calls, which have been interesting and have shown our chops to dissect businesses and talk, and it's been interesting. Knowing my audience, About.me is dramatically more important for them. Why don't I give you the 5 seconds here to give the commercial that I think benefits them quite a bit. What is About.me? What is it doing? And why should people care? Especially the creators and entrepreneurs of my world.
I love GaryVee's audience because this product is built exactly for you. So what it is, it's a personal website. Or personal page, if you want. Very simple, one page that allows you to...
Do you believe, I apologize because I want to... Do you believe, I think he's calling back. Do you believe that for the early creators, early entrepreneurs that may not want to or can afford to spend $15,000 to $30,000 to build their kind of GaryVaynerchuk.com site, that this scratches that itch to get them to support their social media presence?
If you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, you're at the beginning, you're building your own business, you don't need a big, clumsy website. Right. Absolutely not. That's a big mistake. What you need is a personal page that ties into your personal domain. So Gary Vaynerchuk or GaryVee or whatever that is. You need that page to be able to help you with lead generations, collect emails. Emails are the new currency of this generation,
Do you believe that there's a naivete of the far majority of my audience that just having profiles on Instagram or Facebook make that they don't need their .com.
Oh, 1,000%.
As do I, by the way.
1,000%.
Watch what I do, not what I say. Why
Absolutely.
is there a GaryVee.com? Why is there a VIP email that goes out every day?
You need context of who somebody is if you're going to work with them, if you're going to make a bet on them, right? What business do you really have in the beginning? You've got an idea, but what you have is personality, you have yourself, and people are going to make a bet on you, and they want to know who you are, what makes you tick, and then they want to figure out how to get into your social media and all that other stuff. But they need context. I call it the V, where you start broad context, you move down that funnel to something really, really pointed. You can get to their LinkedIn later, right? So, the about.me, yeah.
Read it. No, read it.
That's perfect. You're right.
It's super funny that you're.
It starts with who you
Instagram
are as a person.
0.0001% of my business execution. I think people have fallen into the trap of this, which is why I'm fascinated by what you've been building and evolving, because whether it's your platform or someone else, it's inconceivable to me to not have your
we started
domain.
off with just an about.me page, which was a simple page who introduced who you were to people that were interested in learning more about you, right? So proper context. What we learned along the way is your audience, solopreneurs, these entrepreneurs, people with a side hustle, right? They increasingly have their own little side gig that they want to promote. And what they need is a page when you land there that can also collect emails, right? So generate leads, can do scheduling right from that page. None of this like collect it and then an email comes to you, all that has your domain tied into it. So TonyConrad.com has that domain tied into your email or your Gmail account, right? All that personalized stuff. Now we're also adding video, and we're adding ability to put a little bit of a portfolio up there of just so people can get a taste of what you do, right? Because they're going to make their decision based on their interactions with you thereafter. They're not going to make the decision right there, right? But you got to capture that lead right there in the beginning, and there's nothing better to do that and simpler to do that than the product that we built at about.me. So I'm excited about that.
So that's the framework. What do you think for an entrepreneur that is a real estate agent or a car dealer or somebody that's trying to sell t-shirts and hats on Instagram? What have you seen some of the entrepreneurs do best on your platform? Or what since we've got you here, Chairman, what's a hack or two when they go and play
I tell you what, I watch my trainer. I have a trainer, right? Okay. I'm 5 days a week out there with my trainer, right? Trying to live the dream. And so I'll watch people come up to him and they'll say, hey, you got a card, or can I follow up with you? And he just hands them his business card that has a link to his about.me page, right? They come there. And is it
about.me/Ricky, or is it Ricky.com?
Well, in his case, he's got his name, so DarrenMiddlesworth.com, right?
Yes.
So you just go directly to his page. But it can be about.me/.
And is there different pricing? Is it that kind of model?
That's right. Once you're into your own domain, then you start paying money, right, for that.
Yes.
So people will go to his page and they'll see, oh, that's that guy I met, and then they can schedule or book an appointment right there, or book a follow-up email from him right there.
It's the functionalities that social doesn't allow.
Bingo.
Yeah,
exactly.
One more question?
Amazing.
And so how fun has it been navigating that business? You were CEO at one point, or no?
Well, I tell you,
I'm trying to remember the narrative.
I was CEO, yes. So this was my second business, and I've had 2 runs at this one. So Sphere was my first business, which, if we take a step back to after that bubble burst, this is really important to me. What I learned, I met these guys, Tony Schneider and Ethan Diamond and Ian Lamb. They had a company called Oddpost. Remember Oddpost?
No, I don't.
Okay, Oddpost was a webmail company, and it was one of the first companies leveraging DHTML, or Ajax technologies, right? So movable objects and all that. It was as cool as it got. And what I loved about these guys, when I met them after that bubble had burst, these guys were sucking battery acid, man. They were like living in a library. They were working out of the library.
For really pumping it and struggling, not doing weird ass things.
They weren't actually doing battery acid. But you know what I'm talking about?
I'd be like, fuck, I'll do that then.
And they were building a company like I had never seen, because they were doing it without cash. Right? Eliminating cash. That's right. It was like a whole new efficiency.
Money makes you soft and fat and suck.
Well, listen, you needed money in the old model, but
not anymore.
But I tell you, 2003, 2002, we saw Blogger, we saw Flickr, we saw Oddpost. Those were the 3 darlings of that period. And what we learned from all that, and what we learned from those 4 companies, right, was that you didn't have to raise a lot of capital to get yourself going, because there was stuff in the cloud. There was capital efficiencies happening all around us. And so that to me was amazing. A little light bulb went off in my head. I thought, you know what? even I could start one of these businesses
'Cause
with
it
a little
costs
bit of
$15
money.
million
So
to
I
build
started
servers.
Sphere with $500,000, right? And we turned that into a very successful business that had a great exit. Following that, then I founded About.me.
What was the exit there? Just for the
We sold it to
bottom.
AOL. Yeah, AOL. It was our first company to AOL.
Yes.
Right?
You were two-time AOL.
That was two timing. I tell you what was amazing though. When we started Sphere, which was Tony Schneider was one of my co-founders from Oddpose in 2005, we helped Matt kickstart WordPress with funding. So Matt had founded WordPress. We helped him get going, and we also helped True Ventures start. All in a 4-month period, dude. Talk about we had 3 jobs. True Ventures today has almost $1.5 billion under management. Some of the most successful early stage companies, in the last decade. Sphere's already had an exit. WordPress, we all know, is just a massive business, and Matt is a once in a generation type founder. So we did a lot of good work in that time period because we started acting,
Moments
not
in
just
time.
talking about it.
Moments in time. Who's this? Michael. That was such that whole 2004 to 2007, 8 range was
The best moment ever.
Yeah, and in AI and VR and other places, voice, we're having those moments, but that was socials, low cost, early lean play. Name? Michael, you're on the AskGaryVee show with Tony Conrad.
I don't fucking believe it, man. This is crazy.
It's true, my man. It's true, Michael. What's your question, my man? Where are you from?
I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Cowboy fan?
Yeah, of course. I think that's a birth defect. You have to be.
All right, next question.
So my question is, again, thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
I offered free pudding, so that
Is that how you got
through.
it, Andy?
But
Go ahead.
me and my wife have a gourmet dessert company, gourmet pudding company called Pudding on Smiles. I left corporate America in 2014. We had a daughter who was a micro preemie, and it kind of put me in a state of position to put everything in perspective. And so I jumped, and me and my wife started the company from our bakery, and just went exclusively just pudding. And so now, it's been growing at a viral rate. And we're in the process. We've been growing organically, so we haven't taken out any loans or anything like that. But we're to the point now to where the demand has exceeded our capacity, and we're having to look into getting more capital. And so
More capital to get more to be able to make more pudding.
Exactly. Well, yeah, because we're building another production facility, and we got purchase orders pending, new contracts as well.
Totally
We do
understand.
B2C and we also do B2B.
I love
and
it.
so now we're in the position of, should we take out the loan to go ahead and do the things we need to do to cover, some of the working capital that we need? Or should we just, take your quote, the longer you wait, the more you can make? Or should we just go ahead and ride the wave as it is?
That's a good question. Tony Conrad, what do you think?
Well, hold on. Repeat that question, will you?
He's asking.
I'm looking at the site. I got distracted.
Here's what he's asking, which is the classic entrepreneurial question, right? Which is, should they take on capital to speed it up, or should they hold their breath longer so they own more pieces of the company and kind of run the marathon? As you know, it could be either or answer. We've seen them both.
For a business like this, I think you try to do it with less capital, right? You try to self-fund this type of business because it's, to me, not a classic venture capital business until it is, right?
I understand.
Your products look beautiful, by the way.
This is more of a private equity or, one of the things that
This
I love.
is like angels, this is friends and family type capital
So
that
what's
believe in your
crazy,
mission,
these are actually
your brand.
kind of the businesses that I'm starting to think about investing in.
Yeah.
Because they're the kind of businesses that you get an entrepreneur that's got some money. They're going to help you and be smart money, but they're not going to stop you because they're a CFO and an accountant. They're going to leave you alone and not micromanage. What you need is smart, passive money. Somebody to write you a check, own a piece of your business, and leave you the fuck alone.
That's right. But you also want to make sure that you have you're thinking about. I think you want passive money, but I think you want smart money that's aligned with the brand. I'll tell you, on Blue Bottle, this is exactly the playbook for us. When we invest in Blue Bottle, a cafe business, small little cafe business founded by James Freeman, one of the best, most interesting founders in our portfolio today. Right? We started off incredibly slow there, and we brought together a bunch of angels, a bunch of individuals. Evan Williams, Kevin Rose, Tim Ferriss, a bunch of our people, right, who were excited to support that mission, but also weren't going to look at this to be the next Facebook, right, in the very beginning. And what happened is we were able to continue to build an amazing brand with these incredible founders of movements supporting what I consider this founder of a movement around artisanal-based coffee. And because we had the right kind of capital structure around the company and the right investors around the company, we were able to accelerate its exposure, and we were help it to become the brand that's become today, right? And you look today, I mean, this is a potentially $1 billion plus, cafe business, right? So I think that you want to walk really slowly, get yourself to an incredible spot before you start thinking about taking dollars that are going to force you out of your comfort zone and to accelerate your growth prematurely,
Passive
right?
Smart money. Exactly.
Absolutely.
The way you just described that is exactly verbatim how I would think about it.
Because one of the dynamics that changed from last year to this year in particular is that last year we only did farmers market, and we was only working 2 days a week, and we did roughly about 140 in a 6-7 month period. This year we're going to do probably anywhere between 700 to 1 million, because we're expanding to kiosks inside of malls. And we have our
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you there. So Blue Bottle started off in farmers markets, started off over in the Berkeley Bowl. It came over to San Francisco to the Ferry Building. That was its first 3 or 4 years of existence. Then he went and he spent less than $30,000 to open up a cafe on Linden Street in the garage of a friend who owned that building. You rolled up that garage, had a little cafe. Pretty soon it was as cool as it got because the product was beautiful. The product was spot on. It was thoughtful. And he developed a cult following that by the time he then went and opened a much more expensive cafe, Mint Plaza in San Francisco in the Ferry Building, he knew that he was taking a calculated risk, right? He had an audience and a brand that was already building. I love the fact that you've started off in a farmer's market and you're moving into, broader reach. It's really great, but walk slowly with these first units that you're opening. Don't get ahead of yourself. Make them work.
Hey, Tony.
Then you can get there.
Tony, right?
Yeah.
No, you're Tony. I'm sorry, the call. I apologize. Michael, right? Michael, right?
Yes.
Michael, do me a favor. Email me at Gary@VaynerMedia with your company and a title. I want to talk to you. I'm intrigued by what you're talking about.
All right. I definitely appreciate it.
And send Gary some pudding because he's melting away.
Oh, yeah. I definitely got to do that. I love my gin case. I just got the gin case in about a couple months ago.
I appreciate it. But save some money for the GaryVees that dropped November 14th.
Oh, no doubt. But I have one more question.
Go ahead, real quick.
My next question is on the documentary side of things.
Yes.
Because one of the things that we have is our backstory.
Yes.
Why we got started in the first place because of our daughter.
Yep.
And so the document aspect, being a product-based company, should we document that even though
1,000%.
100,000%.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Story and origin is everything.
That's why you give a fuck about
everything.
Superman.
I'll tell you, the best founders have a vision for their product. They don't often they don't create the category. Bree Pettis didn't create 3D printing. James Freeman did not create artisanal based coffee. Matt Mullenweg did not create the blog, right? But they have a vision for how their product intersects with their consumer's life, and they're able to impose that vision on that consumer in an intelligent way because they have a product that just fits, right? And that story, that origin is so mission critical in the authenticity of your brand and what you're doing, that if you don't develop that and own it, and it becomes just something that's second nature to everybody who joins your team over time and everybody that buys your product, that is a miss, right? So double down on that.
Michael, send me that email. We'll talk.
I will do.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Talk to you.
Thanks,
Stay
Tony.
well.
You're welcome, Michael.
Tony, parting thoughts. Anything you didn't get off your chest?
Oh man, I got a lot to get off my
I know,
chest.
we'll probably I'm going to make a point. We're going to have you back on for part 2, but last parting thoughts here.
There's no silver bullet. I think for those young people, you started off the show by talking about you want to be investors, and I tell you what. I see a lot of smart people that want to be investors, and they're not prepared. They come out of school, or they prematurely want to leave a job after a couple of years, and they want to get into the game and start doing it. And I think it's possible. It's definitely possible, but you're much smarter to get out there, build a network, build yourself a product, do it, live it, be it, and then over time, start figuring out how to trickle some of your dollars in, start living and being that. Then you'll be ready to be an investor because you'll have embedded networks, you'll understand the language, and you'll have something to offer, right? You will genuinely have something to offer. There is no silver bullet to get into this game.
Tony, I love you. Question of the day. Every guest on this show gets to ask the Vayner Nation a question. You'll get lots of answers on Facebook and YouTube and wherever else this gets shared, but now it's living on Facebook, so predominantly Facebook. What is your question?
I got 2 questions of the day. One is I want to know Cubs Nation out there. I want to know what your confidence level is right now about this year. All right, I just need a one-liner that says
thumb up, thumb
we got
down
this,
emoji.
we don't got this.
Got
all right.
Number
but
2?
the other question I'm really interested in is why what are you guys all using, right, in terms of your personal branding site, and why aren't you using products like About.me, right? Because you absolutely need to have it.
Is the question what are you using outside of social? Because social is
What are you because social is social's not going to get you there, right? Social needs a context. Without a context, social is just it's noise.
So let's frame that up. What are you using outside of social to build your personal brand?
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely.
My man.
Thank you.
Real pleasure.
To be here.
You keep asking questions, we'll keep answering them.